The body was found just before sunrise, hanging from a torn bedsheet tied to a cell vent in Rikers Island's solitary block. Officer Kane stood frozen outside the cell door, flashlight trembling in his hand. The inmate's lifeless face was pale and bruised, and the air smelled faintly of bleach. But what struck Kane the most wasn't the body. It was the camera above the door. The red recording light was off. It wasn't broken. It had been switched off. Someone didn't want this death to be seen, and it wouldn't be the last. 3 days earlier, the jail had been buzzing with tension. A young inmate named Darren Cole had told everyone he'd seen something that made him fear for his life. He claimed another inmate had been beaten by guards after lights out, dragged away, and never returned. "They said he was transferred," Darren whispered to his cellmate. "But I heard them cleaning the floors that night." No one believed him, until the next morning when Darren was found dead. The report said suicide. No one questioned it except one person, Officer Kane. Kane had worked at Rikers for almost 10 years. He'd seen fights, riots, and endless corruption, but this felt different. The incident didn't add up. Darren was supposed to be moved to a different unit that morning. His paperwork had already been filed. Why would he kill himself the night before? Kane looked through the surveillance logs and found a 2-hour gap, a black hole in the system. Someone had deleted the footage. When he asked his supervisor, Captain Morales, about it, the answer was quick and cold. "System malfunction," Morales said, not looking up from his desk. "Write your report and move on." But Kane knew that tone. It was the same tone used when officers wanted something buried. That night, while doing rounds, Kane passed Darren's old cell. It had already been cleaned out, spotless. The next day, whispers spread among inmates. A rumor that Darren had been silenced after seeing guards rough up another prisoner, a man named Luis Vega. Luis was part of a small group that often filed complaints about abuse and poor treatment. A week earlier, he'd told another inmate, "They'll get me for talking, you'll see." When Kane checked Vega's file, it was marked transferred. But no Kane decided to dig deeper. He met privately with an older inmate named Raymond Ray Henson, a lifer who'd been at Rikers for 15 years and knew every dirty secret the place had. They met in the infirmary, away from cameras. Ray leaned close and said, "People don't just disappear here, officer. They get erased. Darren saw them doing something to Vega, dragging him into the south tunnel. That night, when most of the block was quiet, Kane made a decision that could cost him his job. Or worse. He used his keycard to access the old south corridor. The air was thick with dust, and the lights flickered weakly. As he walked deeper, the smell of mold mixed with something else, something metallic. Blood. The corridor led to a small storage room sealed with a heavy metal door. Kane pulled out his flashlight and scanned the walls. He found faded letters carved into the paint. "Help us." Then, behind an old cabinet, he saw something that froze his breath. A torn inmate uniform, stained and labeled Vega. His hand shook as he reached for it. Suddenly, the light behind him flickered, and he heard a metallic click. He turned around. The door was He rushed toward it, slamming his shoulder against the metal. "Hey, who's there?" he yelled. No response. The door shut fully, plunging him into darkness. The air grew heavy, and faint footsteps echoed on the other side. He grabbed his radio. Dead. Static. Sweat dripped down his neck as he backed up toward the gurney, breathing fast. Then a small sound broke the silence. Kane pressed his ear against the cold metal. The scraping stopped. Then, from the other side came a whisper, low, chilling, and unmistakably human. "You shouldn't have come here." Kane froze. He knew that voice. It was Captain Morales. Before he could react, a sharp hiss filled the room. The air vents rattled, releasing. Kane woke on a cold floor with his cheek against concrete. His throat burned like the air had scratches in it. The room was dark except for a thin strip of light under the door. He coughed and pulled himself up by the rusted gurney. The torn uniform with the name Vega still lay where he dropped it. His radio was dead. His keycard hung from his belt, but the door wouldn't budge. He pressed his ear to the metal. The door opened 2 inches, then stopped against a chain. A hand slid through and dropped a small bottle of water. A whisper followed. "Drink. Not too much." Kane knew that voice. Ray Henson. "Ray? How did you—" Ray cut him off. "Keep it quiet. Cameras in the hall are fakes, but the mic works. Morales has the alarm shrieked like a siren in a storm. Sprinklers sputtered, then died. Old pipes. But the noise did its job. Boots thundered away. Kane yanked the chain with his keyring until a weak link snapped. He slipped into the hall, shoulders low. The place smelled like mold and bleach. Ray's pencil map showed a turn, a short ladder, then a hatch to an old laundry room. From there, the laundry room looked abandoned. Broken carts, a dead washer, dust on everything. But one wall panel was cleaner than the rest, as if touched often. Kane pressed it. The panel popped, revealing a keypad with worn numbers. He tried the last 4 digits of the building code. Red light. He tried the date of the malfunction night. Green. The wall slid open. A short hallway stretched forward. "Luis?" Kane whispered. The tapping stopped, then started again. 3 fast, 2 slow. The old distress pattern inmates used when the cameras were down. Kane slipped his key into the slot. It didn't fit. He checked the hinges, the bolts. This door opened outward, not inward. He wedged his keyring between bolt and frame and leaned his weight. Metal squealed. The bolt slid half. Luis Vega sat on the floor, wrists red from old cuffs, eyes wide and bright. "Officer," he said, voice dry. "I thought they'd make me disappear." Kane helped him stand. "You were marked transferred. To where?" Luis gave a thin smile. "To down here. A place no one writes down." Ray, proof came faster than expected. In the office at the end of the hall, a dusty computer hummed. Ray nodded to the drawer. Inside were folders stamped, "Medical event, no notification." Each had a time, a unit, a code, and a short note. "Relocated to observation." Kane took photos with his phone, then opened a hidden tray in the desk. A flash drive. A radio crackled outside the office. "Captain says check the laundry. He thinks Collins is down there." Different voice. Kane nodded to Ray and Luis. "We move now," he whispered. They slipped out a side door into the old chapel hallway. Stained glass was covered with steel mesh, but faded colors still bled through. For a second, the place felt quiet, almost kind. Then the hallway exploded into motion. Ray grabbed a mop handle and swung low. Kane pushed Luis behind a pew and blocked a strike with his forearm. The wavering officer looked shaken. "Cap said you're rogue," he stammered. "Said you're making trouble." Kane snapped. "Cap turned the cameras off. Check your conscience." From the far end of the hall, a loud click echoed. Morales stepped into view, calm. Morales signaled, and more officers filed in, sealing the exits. "Here's how this ends," he said. "You walk away, or you join our friend and transfer." Kane reached into his pocket and held up the flash drive. "You already lost," he said. "This is on a cloud by now." It wasn't, not yet. But he kept his face steady. Morales studied him, eyes cold. The PA voice continued. "Captain Morales, report to the front gate." He didn't move. Instead, he nodded to the officer who'd hesitated earlier. "Take them," he said softly. The man lowered his baton. "Sir," he said, "we can't. If IG is here—" Morales stepped close, whispering something into his ear. The man's jaw tightened. A side door burst open. 2 people in suits entered with 2 uniformed troopers behind them. The lead woman flashed a badge. "Inspector General's office," she said. Her eyes swept the scene. Kane, Luis, Ray, officers in a line, Morales at the center like a chess king. "Captain," she said, "we've had 3 anonymous packets in 3 weeks. Tonight we got video." Kane felt his shoulder. Morales tried to play it smooth. "Inspector, these men are manipulating an officer. We've had discipline problems." She cut him off. "Save it for the statement room." She turned to Kane. "Officer, do you have records?" He handed over the flash drive and photos. She scanned a clip on her tablet, face hardening. "Shut that tunnel," she told a trooper. "Now." Then the lights died. Every bulb. Every exit sign. Black, heavy, total. A single red glow returned, just one, over the chapel doorway. A hiss rolled through the vents, soft at first, then sharp. Kane grabbed Luis's sleeve. "Cover your face," he said. "Stay low." The inspector shouted orders into a dead radio. In the dark, a shadow rose on the pews, tall and steady. Morales' voice floated like oil. "This building belongs to whoever holds the keys," he said. and the keys are not in your pocket. The red glow flickered like a heartbeat. Somewhere metal slammed. Somewhere a lock turned. Kane felt along the wall until his fingers found the old breaker panel near the choir rail. He ripped it open. Inside, a tangle of wires and dust. Ray bumped his shoulder. "I got it," Ray said, hands quick. A spark snapped. The red glow went out. Total darkness swallowed them. For a breath, no one moved. Then a blinding white cone cut through the black from the main doors. Chaos crashed back. Troopers chased. Officers dove. Kane pulled Luis behind the pulpit as a body collided with the pews and toppled a row. The portable light swung wildly, carving bright stripes across faces and stone. Morales sprinted toward the south hall, the one that led to the tunnel. The inspector shouted, "Cut him off!" Kane grabbed the light, steadied it, and a trooper yanked the box free and smashed it against the floor. Radios crackled alive at once. Sector C open, Gate 2 held, IG inside. The building's heartbeat changed. Morales skidded at the hall mouth and turned back, eyes burning. "You think opening doors makes this place clean?" he shouted. "This island eats the truth." He reached into his coat and pulled a... Morales' thumb hovered. The inspector pointed. "Troopers, South Hall." Boots slammed forward. Morales didn't run this time. He smiled, sad and thin. "You'll shut a tunnel," he said. "You won't shut a culture." He pressed the first button. Nothing happened. He pressed the second. From deep below, something boomed, like a door falling off its hinges. Dust. They ran, pushing past pews, following the troopers into the South Hall as dust drifted like snow. At the junction, the old laundry door had split at the frame. Warm air poured out, smelling like burned wires. A siren wailed, a new one, deeper and meaner. The inspector pointed to a guard. "You, kill the main. You, call fire. You, stay with the witness." She looked at Kane. Kane and the inspector closed the distance fast. "Stop!" she yelled. Morales turned, eyes bright with something between fury and fear. "You don't understand," he said. "This place doesn't have one secret. It has layers. You pull one, the next is worse." He lifted the remote again. The inspector raised her badge and stepped forward. For a heartbeat, everything stilled. The truth about Rikers Island is far darker than anyone imagined. Behind every closed door lies another secret, and behind every official report, another name quietly erased. But even with the walls closing in, some stories still find a way to escape. What else is being hidden beneath the island's silence? If you want to uncover the next chapter of this investigation, don't forget